Hi, everyone. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. Today is Wednesday, February 10th. Thanks for choosing to be here to get filled in on the top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. There's a big story taking over the internet today, which we are going to talk to at the end. So make sure you stick around for that. It's the breaking news that you really want to hear today. First up, we will talk about what's happening in Washington, D.C. Former President Donald Trump's impeachment trial, the evidentiary portion of it is underway after yesterday the Senate voted to continue with the proceeding. The Senate voted with all Democrats voting to continue and 6 Republicans voting to continue, determining that it is constitutional, according to the Senate, to have an impeachment trial for a former U.S. president. So evidence began being presented today. So here's what you can expect over the next several days. Each side, that being the House managers, which act as the prosecutors, and former President Trump's representation, will have 16 hours to present their cases. So right now, we are in the middle of 16 hours of evidence being presented from the House managers who are arguing for convicting former President Trump of inciting an insurrection. They can do no more than 8 hours per day, and they have 2 days. So 8 plus 8 adds up to the 16. After that, the representation for former President Trump will go into presenting the defense against conviction for inciting an insurrection. They will have 16 hours to present that case. Again, no more than 2 days, no more than 8 hours per day. And after that point, there will be 4 hours of questions from the senators, which serve as the jury in this case, that they can ask of both sides altogether. Now, after that point, there will be an opportunity, if either side wants to present arguments for bringing in witnesses or other documents. However, it does seem that both sides have indicated that they believe that the senators themselves are sufficient witnesses, so it's not clear if we'll see any other witnesses or documents presented along those lines. So that's what we can expect over the next couple days in the second impeachment trial of former President Trump. Now, it could go through the weekend. That is possible. Previously, one of the former president's attorneys, David Schoen, had asked to postpone the trial through the Jewish Sabbath holiday, which begins Friday at sundown and extends through Saturday evening, but he did withdraw that request. So it is possible that this trial could continue into Saturday and possibly even Sunday. So we will see what happens there, but we will bring you updates along the way. And of course, we're streaming it live on WKYC.com and our WKYC app if you would like to watch the proceedings live as they unfold. We did get more information from Twitter today about the former president's ban, and we do now know that that will continue even if he does run again for office. It was on CNBC's Squawk Box that Twitter CFO Ned Siegel said that the account will not be restored. Here's what he said. The way our policies work, when you're removed from the platform, you're removed from the platform. Whether you're a commentator, you are a CFO, or you are a former or current public official. It was on January 8th that the former president's personal account was shut down. That was 2 days after his supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol, where 5 people died, including a police officer. And that, of course, is the subject of the trial that is currently taking place in the Senate right now. Now let's take a look at the COVID-19 numbers across the world here in the U.S. and here in Ohio. We'll start with the global numbers. These numbers come from Johns Hopkins University. Right now, globally, the number of COVID cases has been reported at 107,105,704, with a total number of 2,347,000 global deaths. Here in the U.S., we've got 4% of the global population, but we are leading the number of cases and leading the number of deaths by a long shot. We have 25.4% of the COVID reported cases and 20% of the reported COVID-related deaths here in the U.S. alone. Those exact numbers in the U.S., there have been 27,223,118 reported COVID-19 cases and a total of 448 reported COVID-19 deaths here in the U.S. Here in Ohio, these latest numbers from the Ohio Department of Health, we've seen 3,281 new COVID cases reported in the last day. That is up a bit from what we saw yesterday. The number of reported deaths is down a bit. Unfortunately, 63 more Ohioans have been reported to have died related to COVID-19, those numbers coming in the last 24 hours. In terms of testing, on Monday, there were about 19,000 COVID tests done, and 8.6% of those came back positive. The 7-day average for tests coming back positive is 6%. We've seen 227 new hospitalizations related to COVID in the last day. That is up from yesterday. The total hospitalizations at 1,922 right now. This is the second day. We've seen that number below 2,000 and the 9th day below 2,500. So all signs point to Governor Mike DeWine lifting that curfew when we hear from him tomorrow during his regular Thursday press conference. Right now, there are 500 people being treated in the ICU for COVID-19, and we've seen 20 new ICU admissions in the last 24 hours. And across the state of Ohio, 89% of our hospital beds are available. That's just under 7,800 hospital beds. Now, here's new information that we just started giving you yesterday. The number of Ohioans fully vaccinated against COVID-19. That number is now up to 348,247. That's about 3% of Ohio's population, and that's a little over 22,300 more people fully vaccinated. That means they got that second shot in the last 24 hours. The number of people who have gotten their first shot, so they have started the vaccination process, that's another 9.5% of our population, and that's about 1.1 million people. So we are slowly but surely making that progress to get people vaccinated against COVID-19, and that is good news. Now let's talk about baseball. The spring training dates have been announced by Major League Baseball and when the teams will report to their training facilities, and that includes our Cleveland baseball team. They will be heading to Goodyear, Arizona very soon. The pitchers and catchers are going on Wednesday, February 17th. That's when they'll show up to get started with the spring training, and the rest of the team will be there on Sunday, February 21st. From there, Cleveland will kick off its spring training game schedule on Saturday, February 26th. That'll be against the Cincinnati Reds. Now remember, fans will not be allowed at the workouts during spring training, and we are still waiting to hear word on what it will look like for attending games at spring training in the Cactus League in Arizona. The full schedule of our Cleveland baseball team's training game schedule is up on WKYC.com, so you can check that out. And today, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has announced 16 induction nominees for 2021. And of the 16 nominees who are eligible to be inducted this year, 7 of them are first-time nominees. Those 7 first-time nominees are Jay-Z, Mary J. Blige, the Foo Fighters, Dionne Warwick, Iron Maiden, the Go-Go's, and Fela Kuti. I am sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, so if you are a big fan of that band or person, I apologize. The other 9 that have been nominated before, but just weren't selected for induction. That includes Kate Bush, DEVO, Shaka Khan, Carole King, LL Cool J, New York Dolls, Rage Against the Machine, Todd Rundgren, and Tina Turner. So the lucky inductees will be announced in May, and the 2021 induction ceremony will follow. That'll be announced at a later date. Obviously, we don't know what's going on with that just yet. But you can vote and make an impact on which inductees are selected. You can cast your ballot for the fan vote. That link is on WKYC.com, and that voting is open right now through April 30th. The top 5 artists selected by the public will make up the fan ballot, and then those votes will be tallied when selecting who actually makes it into the class of 2021. But just because you win the fan vote, as we know from the last year, doesn't necessarily mean you'll be inducted. Now we move on to the snubs. Pat Benatar and, yes, Dave Matthews Band are absent from the induction nominees this year. They were nominated last year, and they were not selected to join the 2020 class despite dominating the fan vote. And even more notably, Dave Matthews Band became the first winner of the fan ballot not to be selected for induction with over 1 million votes. And today, Pat Benatar became one of the top trending topics on Twitter shortly after the nominees were announced today. And a lot of people wondering, why Pat Benatar not included? So Mandy Smith, Director of Education at the Rock Hall, told 3 News that she's actually not surprised by the induction outcome this year because of so many first-time nominees. And she said it's not personal for her. She actually loves Pat Benatar, and she thinks that all of the nominees will still have their day. She says this isn't the only year that they're going to be eligible, and she said this: I'm hopeful that a lot of these bands will get in sometime in the future too. It's a little cheesy to say, but it's an honor just to be nominated. She said she remembers the Zombies. That took them a while to actually get in. So if you're a big Pat Benatar fan and a big Dave Matthews Band fan, not your year, not their year, not this year. Something else exciting that's happening in the area, Cleveland Metroparks Zoo has announced a naming contest for those 2 endangered Amur tiger cubs that were born at the zoo in December. There are some options. So here are the options. There's a boy cub and a girl cub. So the options for the boy cub are Luca, Ivan, and Yuri. And for the girl cub, it's Valentina, Anya, and Tatiana. So here's what you have to do to vote. You need to make a donation at the Cleveland Metroparks Zoo's website. We have that linked on WKYC.com, and then you can vote on a name. Each donation will help fight illegal wildlife trade that has threatened Amur tigers and moved the species towards extinction. So that's how you can have your say in what these little cubs will be named. These cubs were born overnight between Christmas Eve and Christmas Day at the zoo, and the zoo announced their birth back in January. These, by the way, are the first Amur tiger cubs born at the Cleveland Metroparks Zoo in 20 years. And now for that breaking news that you've all been waiting for. McDonald's is bringing back High C Orange Lava Burst. Yes, that is happening. It's going to come back by summer of 2021. You know, they took it off the menu in 2017. I don't know why they took it off the menu, because people were very upset about it, and they've been talking about it for a long time. It's been a long 4 years, and McDonald's is now bringing it back. So in just a couple of months, you'll be able to get a High C Orange from McDonald's again. I don't know about you, but that is the flavor of my childhood. That was my go-to drink every time I went to McDonald's, every Happy Meal, and quite honestly, for a long time into my adult life, you know, leading up to 2017 when they so savagely took it away from us. But it's coming back. So congratulations to all the High C Orange Lava Burst lovers out there. McDonald's said, "We heard you, we see you," the letter C, and it's coming back, people. You heard it here first. All right, that's it for your 3 News Now update for Wednesday, February 10th. I will see you next up on What's New at 5 p.m. with your trending stories in the Clicking in Cleveland segment. Between now and then, enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Everyone, stay safe and be well, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.